It's easy for a manufacturer to design and sell a sled based on performance because, let's face it, we all want the latest and greatest, the most powerful, the most accessorized, the most belled and whistled snowmobile there is, or at least the most that we can afford. Instead, I think it takes real chutzpah for a manufacturer to design and build a sled that either defines or redefines a market segment outside of this performance box. And the segment I'm talking about is the Evolution segment. For 2019, Polaris has defined this market with the Evo snowmobile. The Evo is more than just a redecaled 550 fan. Instead, it's a purpose-built snowmobile made for riders that are right between the 120-200 class snowmobiles and a full-size machine. Now, you might be wondering why somebody wouldn't buy a Polaris 550 fan. Well, that's simple. And that's because that sled and others like it are built with large adults in mind, where the Evo is built specifically for small and young riders. This sled is sized to fit them, and Polaris has done this by lowering the handlebars and fitting a seat with much less rise to it to fit smaller bodies. The suspension is lower as well, making the overall sled closer to the ground to be less intimidating, and it's speed limited to 50 miles an hour or about 70 kilometers an hour, which should make parents happy. Take, for example, the 120 class sleds that seem to depreciate to a value and then stay there for the rest of their existence, assuming they're in half decent shape. Now, it looks like the 200 class sleds are going down that same path, and I think the Evo is going to follow that same trend, which means when it comes time to trading this thing in, it's still going to be worth some pretty good money. Even when you look at the investment it takes to bring a youngster up through the ranks from their very first 120 snowmobile, then up to the 200 class snow scoots and on into the Evo class, I don't think the expense is as bad as you think. And then there's riding the Evo, which is a ton of fun for even us adults. The sled really does have that light, nimble feel, which I think youngsters will appreciate. You can get on the gas fast without the sled doing anything unexpected, but the 550 fan still has enough power to spin the track for a little bit of fun. And while for me, the speed limiters seem to kick in a bit too early, it will keep shenanigans to a minimum. The Evo is confidence-inspiring because of its ease of use and proportionate size for young riders, but it still has that real snowmobile feel to it with the same type of gauges, electronic reverse, and switchgear that are found on regular sleds. It's these features that make the Evo a much better choice for young riders over a full-size Polaris 550 fan or a 600 class liquid snowmobile. These bigger sleds will ultimately lead kids into a struggle to control the machine, which could potentially get them into a situation that is beyond their skill level and into trouble. The Evo and sleds like it are the key to the future of snowmobiling. Not because I think we're all going to trade in our 850s and start riding Evos. Instead, I think these machines are going to turn the youth that ride them into enthusiasts, and they're going to be the future of snowmobiling. Putting my 13-year-old cap on, I think I'd be super happy with a sled like the Evo to run around the backyard with and then go out on the trail with my folks. Even up through the ages of 14, 15, and 16, the Evo is a relevant snowmobile that I think kids in this age bracket would be happy to ride on without a paper bag on their head. After these ages, kids will probably have their own ideas as to what they want to ride, but maybe by that point, they've had a summer job or two to help pay for their next snowmobile, and the Evo can be used as a trade-in. These sleds also represent an excellent way to develop a better bond between mom and dad and the kids without having a screen in the middle, and it may even have the potential to get the kids active in the snowmobile community if sledding is something they really want to do. So far, speaking to Polaris dealerships, we've been told that they've been receiving a ton of phone calls on the Evo and have sold through on their stock, which means it looks like the Evo is being well received in the marketplace. I hope this continues to be the case because I truly believe that sleds like the Evo and the smaller 200 and 120 class sleds are the perfect way to make sure that snowmobiling survives into the future with a new generation of kids that will become enthusiasts.
And then